Welcome to Beyond the Surface. With me, Debbie Ann Turnbull. Here we dive deeper than the obvious to explore what really keeps our families safe and our minds strong. After losing my only son Chris to drowning, I've dedicated my life to water safety education and helping others heal. With many years of training and personal experience, I'm here to help you navigate your challenges, because the most important truths are found beyond the surface. Today, I'd like to talk about my journey and why I'm actually including a huge mental health support program as well as my water safety education. The reason I got into mental health and spiritual health was came, I guess, from a long time ago. I've always wanted to better myself because I've never, I guess, felt enough as a person. I've not had the most best upbringing. I was brought up by my grandparents mainly, and my parental experience was quite narcissistic, which didn't really help me at all. And I always felt that there was more to life. And because I was brought up by my grandparents, I suppose I had, when I was with them, the most idyllic life, because Grandpa was an avid gardener. And at 4 years old, I had my own little plot, which was a little square in his garden, and I could plant anything in there. So anything excess he used to give to me to shove in and grow. I believe I planted things and then went back and pulled them all up and wanted to plant them where his stuff was. So again, it gave me a great interest in gardening, and I've had my own little market garden as a result of that when I was young. Um, and then throughout my life, various things happened, various challenges, some quite awful, some really I've never been able to really get over until now, work through until now, and find that place that we all call, which is acceptance. And as I started to work in personal development, I started public speaking at a very young age in the work that I was doing. I worked with the media, and I started to read more books. And I read things like 12 Lessons. I read things like Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Um, and then I moved forward and really got quite deeply into spiritual work, not in a religious sense, but in a there's more to the world than this. And I've gone from when I lost Chris then to reading about from angels to quantum physics and quantum mechanics. Then I started to do courses. And I honestly can't tell you the number of courses that I've done, some of which would blow your mind completely. And then because of the trauma that I've been through in my personal life before I lost Chris, I then started to feel very sensitive, I would say. And I realized that I had this knowing, I didn't know what it was. And it's taken me 66 years to be able to say that I can tell people things. I don't see anything, but I feel people's pain immensely. And I kind of get these, they're not messages, it's just thoughts, and it just comes out. And I am compelled to tell people, and I have also a very powerful sense of, which is really strange, when people are going to pass away. And one such time was when I was 11 years old, and my grandpa went out, and I can see him now. closed the door. I knew he was going out for the night, and I just remember looking deep into his blue eyes, and we kind of had a touch point for a moment, and it felt like we were saying goodbye. And the following morning, I woke to find him asleep in his chair. There was a hole burnt in the kettle in the kitchen, and he passed away silently and blissfully and beautifully. And in those days, it was where they brought the body back into the home. And so he stayed in the house for a week. And I used to go and talk to him. And from that time on, I've always felt that he was there speaking to me. I mean, for some people who are listening to this, they'll go, "Oh my gosh, Debbie, he needs some medication or something," and others will think, "Oh, I know what you're on about." So I call it Debbie's woo woo. I then started to read more books, and then in the personal development side, crikey, I studied with an amazing woman who'd been trained by Dr. Richard Bandler. Now, he's the guy who set up the NLP. He was the guy who, with another gentleman, devised NLP. This lady, however, had also not only been one of his main trainers, she'd also worked with American Indians, and again, that spiritual, that tribal knowledge she brought into her teachings. And it was many, many years ago. I'm talking in probably the late, gosh, maybe, gosh, I think in the 80s even. And she had us chanting and releasing, and gosh, we released so much pain with her guiding us and directing us. And then I went on to be a master NLP practitioner. I've done hypnotherapy, I've done timeline therapy, I've done CBT. Oh, I can't remember everything, but some of the most memorable ones are a guy that I work with called Sandy Newbigging, and he his training is the Karmology training. His books are beautiful. Sandy was a monk, and I have the utmost respect for Sandy. He's incredible, and again, that training was fabulous. And recently and now, I'm training to be a somatic trauma informed practitioner. I've got the opportunity to look at the narcissistic abuse side and train in that, but I feel as though I'd like to put that to one side for now, because all the things that I'm doing currently are helping to move through and move forward with whatever they're dealing with. And I call them challenges. It could be grief, but grief to me has many, many facets in that you could have lost a child, a parent, a grandparent, a friend, a pet. You could have lost your job. You could have lost your own self-worth, all those kinds of things. And what I'm really keen on doing now is understanding how the nervous system works and being able to teach people how they can actually regulate that. And something else I've just come across recently, belief coding. And I've decided that I want to do all of that, because this work is so different. It combines many of the modalities that I've already trained in, but it puts them together in an amazing way. And Jess is actually working with a scientist, so they're actually being able to record the way the brain reacts to the work that we as facilitators under belief coding will do, and it's absolutely flipping amazing. And I'm finding with this trainer, I think it's the most supportive and valuable training, and to belong to an amazing network of support through Jess Cunningham and Belief Coding is the absolute best. So now I've got somewhere that I can bring people into in London now, and I'll be setting up a Calm Club. So it'll be a mixture of a number of these modalities put together, and I'm hoping that people will really want to do that. And of course, I'm going to be setting up different trainings and workshops online, which everybody wants these days. Everyone wants everything online. I prefer face to face because I feel as though I can sense and feel the people that I'm working with. People don't have enough time to help themselves, help each other, um, and just take a step back and pause. And that's why I want to bring a calming element into what I'm creating. I hope everyone's going to love it because crikey, it took some work. And I'm looking to set up support networks for people that have been rescued in drowning situations because they have experienced trauma. The people I'll be bringing into the podcast in a while will be so many different people who are really big in water safety, from the biggest organisations to people like myself and Maxine, who are here because we joined a club we didn't want to belong to, and other amazing parents as well, which I'm hoping you'll find interesting. But all I can say is that there's a lot of work to be done in mental health, spiritual health, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love um side, I love the shamanic side, I love the Akashic side. I find it all so really interesting. And another series of books that I have read, and again, very out there, different, is by a lady by the name of Dolores Cannon. And I've already had a regression a while ago, quite a while ago. Wow, have I lived? um, you either believe this stuff or you don't. You either poo-poo it or you love it. And I love it because not only have I learned so much about myself and other people and what makes them tick, but I've had many, many messages and signs, a couple of which are on the day that myself and Chris's mates wanted to do something. We were all in shock. It was horrific. There was no real support in the school. So we decided we were going to do a fancy dress, and we would walk from the top of Colwyn Bay to down to Roselandsea. So I wanted to make it fun and interesting. So I asked the boys to dress up as girls, and I asked the girls to dress up as boys, and it was all in fancy dress and great humour and great fun. And we sang all the way down from Colwyn Heights to Roselandsea, and we carried buckets with us, and we sang and we cried and we laughed. And as we set off, there was a rainbow. I can see it now, and it was just pulsating so strongly. And when we got into Roselandsea, there was, I think, the same rainbow or another one. And ever since, when there's been something big, when we got the inquest in the December, again right across London now, there was the biggest, powerful, pulsating rainbow there. I don't need rainbows anymore. I feel them. So then I've got to go and look for them. And the other one was butterflies. Chris's ashes now lay in a place called Angel Bay at Penryn Bay near Ross-on-Sea. He spent his last, I suppose, best day at this place before he died. And a few weeks before he died, he'd gone out with his mates and he went to Chester and he bought clothes. He was just getting into that way of wanting a bit of branded kit. And he bought this top, and it was black and white. And on the back, it had a legend. I wish I'd still got it, but we sent him on his journey in that top. And the photo where Chris looks up at the sky was taken 5 days before he left us. And I always wonder, what was he asking? What was he praying for? What was he thinking that day? And ever since then, not only have I had rainbows, I've had butterflies. And one time, it was Christmas. And it was one of the worst Christmases as far as my grief was concerned. I was in a really deep, dark place, and I was just looking through the window. I wasn't thinking. I was in a numb state, as I'm sure some people will understand. And I was looking at the window, and honestly, 2 white butterflies were just fluttering around in a circle on Christmas Day. And I said, "Have you brought your friend Chris?" I went to where his ashes were, and I was walking along the path. And on the right-hand side, there is a load of yellow golden gorse bushes. And this is hand on heart, as true as I sit here, and people just stopped and stared, and it felt like it went on for a long time. Maybe it was minutes, maybe it was seconds, but I was walking along, I was just deep in thought, and I was thinking about Chris, and honestly, all of a sudden, I don't know, it must have been hundreds of butterflies, just white butterflies again, just landed on me, and they were just flying all over me. And I had to put my arms out because they were just lining up on my arms and my fingers, and I don't know what it meant, what it signified, but the feeling was just way beyond anything I've ever imagined. And then they all just lifted and flew away. And yeah, I've had so many of those experiences, and I do card readings for people, only people that I really know, because I've been so scared to talk about it. And everybody recently that I've been doing this work for free for, they've been quite shocked. And the meditations we've done of one lady, actually, we went on a journey, and she actually met her father, which because we'd never worked and spoken in this capacity before, she I was one of her clients, and I said, "Shall we have a go?" And I didn't promise anything, but wow, it just took us to her father. And I think I need to write a book. So there you go. That's a lot of why I want to do this stuff, because it's needed. Some people need different things. Some people need black and white support. I understand that. I get that. I can do that, and I have been doing it for ever since I lost Chris. I've always had about 23 families that I've been supporting with grief, but now I'm making it official because I've put the work in. I've invested thousands of pounds to get to this point, that I'm pleased about, and I hope we'll like it. Thank you. If today's conversation has connected with you in any way, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. To hear more powerful conversations like this one, like and subscribe. For practical resources from today's episode, please check out the details below, where you'll find free downloads, workshop information, and ways that we can work together. If you're ready to take the next step in your family safety journey or your mental and spiritual well-being, I'd love to support you. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and remember, you have everything you need within you to protect what matters most.